Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to EonsOfBattle, and today I'm going to show you how I paint Space Marine faces. These are the paints I'll be using. Now, to be able to paint these faces, I'm always do it off the model, and so I'm going to be mounting them onto these pieces of cork. That way I can hold onto the cork and I don't need to touch the model. I'm using a little bit of poster tack to stick the model to, and this is just going to hold it really nicely without you needing any glue. Once I had them mounted, I gave them a primer coat of Vallejo gray primer. You can also use a brush for this, but I always prefer to use an airbrush because it gives a thinner coat, which helps preserve some of the details of the model. And then once the primer was dry, I gave them a base coat of Vallejo Game Color Beige Red. Once I finished the base coat, I then got ready to give the models a wash. I prefer to use the Games Workshop washes. I'm going to be using the red and brown washes. On two of the heads, I'm going to be using a brown wash because I find that gives me a paler skin tone. And then on one of the heads, I'm going to be using the Games Workshop red wash because that will help darken the face quite a bit. The red wash you want to go a little bit lighter on because I found the red wash seems to have a little bit more pigment to it. So you're going to want to put it on and then wipe off most of it, leaving it in the deep recesses of the face and around the seal of the neck. Once the washes were drying, I began starting my first highlight coat. I'm going to be using a 3-to-1 mix of beige red and dark sand. And then I'm going to be hitting the most prominent features on the model. On this head, this is going to be my medium head. And so I'm hitting the areas, all of the areas of the face, the raised edges, the chin, the nose, the brow, and the cheekbones. Make sure that you don't overly load up your brush with paint. You just want a little bit to be painting lines in these areas. And then I went ahead and I painted the top of his head. I made sure to leave the wash in the spots that it had really pooled up in because I wanted to make sure that there's a little bit of a shadow in between his head and his suit of armor. On this head, I want this one to be the more pale of the three heads, and so I'm going to hit this model a little bit more heavily with my paint. I'm going to get his entire forehead, I'm going to get his eyebrows, and his nose, and then I'm going to make his cheekbones a little bit more prominent. On this head, I'm going to use the paint pretty sparingly because I want to keep the head as dark as possible, and so I'm just hitting the cheekbones and the brow and the tip of his nose. And then I'm going to be hitting the top of his head. I then went ahead and I added more dark sand to my mixture so that it bringing it up to a 1-to-1 ratio. And then this is going to be my final highlight. With this color, I'm going to hit all of the same areas that I hit, leaving a little bit of the other color left behind. That way it blends the colors nicely, and then I'm just going to hit the same areas that I've been hitting: the brow, the nose, the cheekbones, and the top of the head. On this head, again, I went in very sparingly, just hitting the cheekbones, the nose, and the brow. And then finishing off the skin tone by hitting the top of his head. Then, to make sure that this model was a little bit paler than the other ones, I went a little bit heavier on him than I did with the other two with this coat. I made sure to hit the entire forehead, his brow, and then I continued to help to try to make his cheekbones stand out a little bit more. Alright, to finish off the heads, I just painted up the hair just using a simple base color and then a highlight. And then once you're ready to put it onto the model, you can then go ahead and paint the armor bits to match the suit. And then you have a finished Space Marine. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, you can leave a comment with any ideas or techniques you'd like to see us do. You can follow us at Facebook at EOB Fans, and you can follow us at Twitter at EonsOfBattle. Thanks for watching.